Hi guys, good morning and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Mandy and you can find me on the internet as Mandy Von Knits on Instagram and Ravelry. This is my knitting podcast. We are going to talk about knitting and crochet. I have a couple of finished objects to show you. One I actually forgot to show you last week. So it isn't knitting though, it's Bargello. And I really love how it came out. It is super cool. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. First, let's start with some introductions. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome. My name is Mandy. I'm a 39-year-old woman. I live here in southeastern Michigan with my husband and my two kiddos. I love to craft. I love to knit. I love to crochet. I'm dabbling in Tunisian crochet. I'm spending a lot of time this year trying to work on both color work and brioche. So that's kind of what's been on my radar lately. I have a list like 80 miles long of things I want to knit and things I want to crochet. I love looking at yarn. I love looking at, I could just spend an hour looking at all the different yarns in the store that I'm at, and if you're like that, you're in the right spot. So sit back and relax. We're going to talk about yarn for a little bit and knitting in general. So the first things first, on this podcast, every week I give away a digital pattern prize. And the way that you enter, you just leave a comment down below. The comment can be, be whatever you want. Just be nice, please. And next week, all you have to do is show back up and I'll draw a winner. So I am going to leave a blank spot right here. And if that was you, please reach out to me on either Instagram or Ravelry. My username on both of those is Mandy Von Knits. You can let me know what digital pattern that you want. The only two rules with this giveaway are that the pattern prize has to be 15 USD or under, and the second rule is you can only win once a month. And that second rule is just in so that I don't keep drawing the same person over and over again, because that would be boring for everybody. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's talk about what I'm wearing. So I am wearing my Hitofude cardigan. Now, I love this. This was a fun knit. So I made this out of a yarn from Arkansas Yarn Co. and it's her sparkle base. And this is fingering weight yarn. And I love this color. It's so pretty. You know what's going to happen to this? Eventually, as my daughter gets older and she can start wearing my clothes, she's going to want this because this is totally the color that she loves. And she has been eyeing this for forever. Pretty much ever since I made it. So I worked on this, let's see. I worked on this while we were doing kind of like a staycation here in Michigan. We went up north and went to like a water park hotel. And my in-laws went with us. And since I'm in a wheelchair, I could go into the water, but I'm just not very comfortable with it. And to be completely honest, real talk here, I'd much rather sit by the pool and like knit. And, the kids can do all the fun things that they want to, and I can knit, which is a lot of fun to me. See, that sounds like a really good vacation. But anyways, I worked on this while I was at the water park hotel, and honestly, it did not take that long. This is a pattern, and I've put up the pattern information. It was knit in fingering weight yarn, and it is lace. I never really found the lace too difficult on it. The way that you work this pattern, and I'm trying to spread my arms so you can see what I'm talking about. The way that you work this pattern is you go from here to here, and you kind of knit like this rectangle, right? So you have a rectangle like this, and you knit it, and it's all in lace, and then you fold it over in half, and then you can sew up the arms and you can kind of pick up. I don't know if you can see that, but you pick up for the skirt. And I really liked that. I especially like how it does this with the neck right here. You'll see that it's like straight almost, and then it kind of curves in. Just a little bit different from a neck that I'm used to. And another thing is these ends at the bottom, they kind of can cross over. Now, if you look at the pattern page, you'll notice I made mine longer, and this is terrible because I can't really show you. Being paralyzed doesn't really lend very well to standing up and showing you these items, but I'm sorry, I'm trying here. So I made mine longer, and this pattern was super easy to modify to make longer, and I ended up doing that from looking at different different project pages on Ravelry and reading their notes. It was very easy to modify, and I really do like the finished object. I think that it's a sweet, like a sweet throw over cardigan, and it's especially good right now because, let's see, it is April 5th. So it's Sunday. You guys won't see this until next Tuesday. So hi from the past. And our weather is still rainy and dreary, but spring is trying, guys. It is trying. So I've got my fingers crossed that at least by May, we're going to have a bunch of sunshine and all of that spring stuff going on. So anyways, that is what I am wearing. It's the Hitofude, and as usual, I put up the project and the pattern information and the designer, and all of that stuff will also be linked down below in the description box. But okay, let's talk about finished objects because I have two. I am going to show you the Bargello finished object first because I forgot to show you this last week. Now, if you'll remember, I have been working on a Hello Bargello kit that I got from their Black Friday sale. And the reason that I got it is because I've never really done much needle work, plastic canvas, nothing like that. I was a complete newbie, and I kept seeing these advertisements, that's what we're gonna go with. I kept seeing them on Facebook and Instagram, and it was always showing these really pretty purses, and I wanted to make one. And I'm like, you know, I don't think I'm going to be able to just jump right in and make this purse. So I looked at their kits, and they had a great deal on for Black Friday. So I ended up getting basically a newbie beginner pattern and then the purse that I wanted. So I finished the newbie beginner pattern, and this is what it looks like. Now, this is, I guess they call it like a coin purse or a change purse or something. It even came with this little heart lock snap. It doesn't snap, it twists, but it came with that as well. And you open it up and you can put your stuff in it. Now, for me, it's a stitch marker container. What did I learn from this? I learned that, well, first of all, I learned how to do this because I pretty much was starting out at the very beginning, and they do have tutorials on their website on how to start, change yarn, do everything. And since I'm so like familiar with yarn and yarny stuff, it was pretty easy once I got the hang of it. I would like to learn, or well, I don't even know if I want to say learn. I'm going to have to work on like the inside a little bit. You can kind of see some of the colors poking out. And I mean, that's okay. This is a beginner pattern. But say next time I'm doing this, I will make sure to only weave in the color ends into the same color so that it doesn't clash as much. But that's just more of a finishing thing. But like I said, it came with this little snap, and I thought that was so cute, and I love the colors. These colors are totally happy and bright and me. So I love the colors, and this is going to be a holder for stitch markers. So I will be keeping it in my Knitting Notions bags and just loving on it. It came with, so this was interesting. It uses worsted weight yarn, and it came in like these tapestry skeins. Do you know how DMC comes? It was like that, but with worsted weight. And you guys are probably laughing at me because you're like, of course, Mandy, everybody knows wool comes like that. But I didn't really know that. So I thought that that was pretty cool. And I don't know. I'm very excited to start the purse, but I'm not going to yet. I'm going to work on a different needlework, a plastic canvas that I have, and it involves cardinals. And it's, I believe, like a Christmas themed canvas set. There's like a tissue cover and like something that hangs on the wall. And I really want to work on those for next Christmas. I love cardinals, and we have a family of cardinals that, well, I think it's just a male and a female. I mean, at least I only see male and female, so maybe they're the same birds, maybe they aren't. It doesn't really matter, but I always see cardinals outside my window, and I love it. And the other day while I was working, because I work from home, I'm a software engineer, I was sitting in my living room working, and all of a sudden I hear a cardinal peeping. And if you've ever heard cardinals, you know exactly the sound that they make. It's so cute. It reminds me of one of like those wind up chicks that you get from Easter that do like peep, 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 just like that. So I heard that, and the cardinal, I could see him on the tree outside, just sitting there singing as happy as can be. And I swear he must have sang for like 10 minutes. It was incredible. It made my day. What was I talking about? I remember now, the plastic canvas. Yes, so I'm going to work on the cardinal plastic canvas, and this one is not like the Bargello, like it's not like this. It's a kit that I got from Hirschner's, and we're going to see if I can tackle it because it's closer to cross stitch, and I have no clue what I'm doing. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted. Okay, now my second finished object. This is actually knitting, and this is the Dorian hat, and I love the way that this looks. Now, this is from my foray into trying to teach myself brioche, and I haven't blocked it yet, so you can see like where my lifelines run through. I'm sorry, there was just not enough time this week, and I'll talk about that later, but if you take a look, you can see the decreases on the hat crown, which I think are pretty cool. So this is hot pink and black, and I am all about that. I'm going to turn it around because it is two-color brioche, and there you go. I prefer it this way though. I don't want to try it on, but I'm going to. So that's what the hat looks like. Oh, it's so comfy. It's actually really squishy and warm. So this is knit. This is knit from DK weight yarn, and I use two strands of Lang Yarns Regina, which is the pink, and then I just had this DK weight like black wool, and I'm pretty sure it was rainbow sock yarn from Hobie, but I'm not going to say that for sure because I can't remember and it didn't have the tag. But the Lang Yarn Regina is a yarn that I use to make the willow pullover, and it was very thin for the DK weight that they said it was, and I would consider it more of a fingering weight, which is why I held two strands together. And quite frankly, I think that the pink kind of overpowers the black, and I like that. So mission accomplished for that. I really do love the pink and the black together. I'm trying to show the crown. It's not gonna be easy today, but there we go. One thing that I did not like about using 2 strands is that with brioche, when you use 2 strands, it's very hard to, what am I trying to say? You can very easily miss a strand. And when you miss a strand, you kind of have to pull everything out to fix it, which is a pain for brioche. However, I will say a couple of things. Number 1, I'm much more comfortable with laddering down in brioche now. I feel like I can at least do it without messing up the entire project. So thumbs up for that. And number 2 is I'm more comfortable with it, and I feel like I can finally move on to a different project. So this is this was basically just brioche in the round up until you did the decreases. And the decreases were 4 stitch decreases. So I mean, in terms of projects, this wasn't a very complicated one. And I feel like I finally got a finished object from brioche that I like. I mean, I feel like this looks pretty good. It will look better when it's blocked, but it is what it is. I had a lot of fun making it. I would definitely recommend this pattern to anybody who wants to kind of dip their toe into brioche and test the waters without committing to a huge project, because there are beautiful, huge brioche projects out there, but I did not want to start with one of those. But okay, that is it for the finished objects, and I'm trying to think about what I'm going to show you next. I've been working on 2 other things. So number 1 is my Vertices Unite, and number 2 is my Tunisian Crochet Shawl. So I think I'm going to show you the Tunisian Crochet Shawl, and I'm hitting myself with the Tunisian Crochet, but last week when I showed you this, the hook is stuck. Okay, last week when I showed you this, I had run out of this purple yarn. Now I can actually disconnect this because I don't need it attached anymore, because I am done with that color. But let me spread it out. The one thing I like about Tunisian crochet, well, there are many things I like about it, but the one thing that I really, really like about it is, like, unlike with knitting, if you accidentally, like, if your hook comes out, you're good. It's good. We're okay. Well, I should say that as long as you're after a rest row, because if you've ever worked Tunisian crochet, you know that just like knitting, you pick up stitches, you pick them up for the first pass, and then on the second pass, you basically close them off. So as long as you're on the second pass, you can take out your hook and it's not a big deal. But this is the Tunisian Sampler Crochet Shawl. And I believe this is by Hayley Joanne Robinson, but I'm putting up all of the information. Now, I have been working on this monthly, doing a section at a time with around the table yarns, and they have been doing basically a Zoom knitting class. So during the day, they have a class in store, and during the afternoon, they have a class on Zoom. So the class is free, and when they had mentioned that they were going to do this shawl earlier in the year, I thought that this was a great way to kind of learn and dip my toe into Tunisian crochet. So if you know anything about me, you know that I am not a shawl person. It's just because it's a little bit impractical for me because I'm in a wheelchair and I am always worried about them dragging on the floor, which happens. But I feel like I will either give this to my daughter or I will use it in my recliner and just be comfy cozy that way. But this is the last section, the section that I just finished. This is the basket weaves section, and it is knit, or I shouldn't say knit, it is Tunisian crocheted very similarly to how the basket weave stitch and knitting is done. So you are alternating knitting the Tunisian crochet knit stitch and the Tunisian crochet purl stitch to get this design. And I really loved the way this pattern worked up because for the first time since I've started this, I didn't have to count each row because the pattern ensures that you're going to have the right number. Or if you don't, you'll notice. You'll know something is off. So that made me happy because these rows, they're getting long, guys. Like, long. And it seems like they take quite a bit. So I was very happy that I got my yarn in the mail because I did order it from around the table and they ship so fast. So I live in Michigan. They're located in Ohio, and I swear I order and it shows up the next day. I don't understand how fast it is, but I ordered the purple shepshas, and this is what it is. It's just a purple, but let me see. I can show you this right here. This is Shepsha Scrumptious, and this is 50% recycled polyester. No, well, hang on. I know one is, it says one's recycled. Yes, recycled polyester and 50% acrylic. So this is DK weight yarn, and this is very comfy, and it almost feels like a terry cloth. So I have a bunch of 30-gram skeins of Shepsha's Scrumptious, and my plan is to use them for this scarf, and whatever I don't have, I'm more than likely going to start using for hats because this is a great hat yarn. I've made several hats in the past using this yarn, and it's just a good one for that. So that's my plans. I will continue to work on that. And well, I will start working on that at the end of April, and I will bring it back out and show you my progress then. Okay, so the only other knitting thing that I've been working on, and that will change in a minute, we're going to talk about that, but the only other thing that I have been working on presently is the Vertices Unite. And let me see if I can kind of grab this out. It is attached to 2 balls of yarn. There's the right way. Okay, so this is my Vertices Unite, and I'm putting up the pattern information up on the screen. This is a pattern by Stephen West, and this is a garter stitch shawl. So it is very relaxing and squishy and fun to knit. So as you can see, I've picked up this side right here, and I am starting to do short rows for section 2, or at least I believe that's what we're doing, because we're going back and forth and then stopping so many stitches before we end and turning around. So it seems like a short row to me, but I haven't read farther in the pattern, which is not something you should do. I don't recommend it, but I do it a lot, right? So if I'm making something like this, I'll just go ahead and not read the pattern. But if I'm gonna make something like the Cowltopus, which we're gonna talk about in a little bit, I'm gonna go through and read that whole pattern because I'm unsure of the construction and how we're gonna be doing it. Uh-oh, I dropped it. So I am using a 3.5, and this is fingering weight yarn. This yarn is from Mouse Witch Yarn. And this is the Sugar Plum set. And since you probably can't see those colors very well, I am going to bring out the yarns. So we've got this cream color and this gray color. Now, that is all together, that's 4 colors, and then the last color is another purple. So this is going to be the shawl of purple, and I love it. There's going to be tons of purple in it, and I feel like it's gonna be awesome. So this section, I believe it's the biggest one, and it has taken quite a while to knit up, even though it is garter. So let's see, I wonder if I can show you how big this truly is. No, I don't think I can. So the middle is to the end of my arm. So I'm assuming it's pretty much my wingspan. Let me see if I can hold it that way. Yeah, it is. It is my wingspan. So then again, I'm short. I am 4'8" on a very good day. So take that with what you will. I'm knitting the large version. So my hope is to have something large and soft and squishy. And that's pretty much it. I am knitting this because I have been watching PJ Knits podcast, and she's doing a Vertices Unite MKAL. So I decided that I was loving seeing everybody's Vertices Unite and I wanted to join in. So that's what I did. And I have been having a lot of fun. I will tell you one thing. Stephen West has like great details. He does great details with certain things. Like you leave a selvage edge right here so it's very easy to pick up. And I don't know if you can see this, but look. Do you see how pretty that is? It's like a line of chain stitches because of the way it was picked up. I don't know. I like it. It's a lot of fun. And I am not a shawl person. So it is I don't want to say weird. It's a new experience. Uh-oh. See, I'm trying to move the crochet hook and it's catching me. It is what it is. Okay, that is all of the knitting that I've done. But now we're going to talk about stuff that I'm casting on probably in the next week. So if you guys have, I'm sure you've heard of the Cowltopus. And I'm trying to find a picture because I know I printed out the pattern. Did I print out the pattern? I was supposed to print out the pattern, but I didn't. Okay, so I've put pictures up. This is a hood and like a cowl together as one, and I'm doing a terrible job of explaining it, but like I said, the pictures are up here. And a lot of people have loved this pattern, and there's another one called the Hoodala, and I believe that one's just in one color, but the Cowltopus is in 2 color, and the net can be brioche, which is one of the reasons why I've been practicing brioche. My mother-in-law reached out to me and asked if there was a way that I could make her a Cowltopus. Well, she didn't say it in those words. She sent me like an Instagram or a Facebook story and asked if I could make what was on the story. She's not a knitter, so she didn't know what the pattern was called. So I said sure, and that is what we're gonna do. But first of all, I'm planning on making several of these because I'm gonna want to, a lot of people like these and I just have wanted to make more. This is going to be the main color of the first one that I make. And this is from, I believe it's Emma's yarn. No, what is it? Yes, it is. It's Emma's Yarn Simply Spectacular DK. It says hand-dyed in sunny Florida. And this colorway is called Foxy Lady. So I have used Emma's Yarn before in my castaways. And if you watch a couple of episodes back, it is the blue and green top that I was wearing. So it was a different base. The one that I used the top for was a silk base, but it's the same dyer. So I have some minis here, and these are DK minis. And I wonder if I can manage to hold them all at the same time. It's gonna be tough. We're gonna try. Trying to get them in like graduated color order. So can you guys see? This is going to be the first set of minis that I use to make the first Cowltopus. And I don't know what my plans are, but we're gonna just do it and it's gonna be fun. So I wonder if I can show them together. Kind of. It'll be a little bit easier to see whenever I start it, but I was supposed to have printed the pattern to start on it tonight, but I will print it after this and start on it pretty soon. That is going to be like my sit down and pay a whole bunch of attention to knit and hopefully do a good job, and we're just gonna see how it goes. Have any of you ever knit it? Have you knit the Cowltopus or the Hoodola? I know that it's been very popular and a lot of people have really liked it. I am slow to get on this bandwagon, you know, because it is April, right? It is turning into spring, but that's okay because you know what? There's always next year. And I know my kiddo has also wanted a hood, so she also asked for basically a balaclava. She didn't say it in those words. She asked for a hat that covered everything except her eyes. So we're gonna, I know that a couple of podcasts ago, or maybe last podcast, I showed you guys a balaclava that I really liked that was made with the type of yarn that I wanted to make hers in. So that's going to be coming too. The other thing that I want to cast on, and this one is going to be more for necessity. So it is April and my daughter is 10 years old and she is always looking for cardigans. Always. Now she wears a school uniform just like my son does, but they are allowed to wear cardigans as long as they're solid color. So the rules are they have to be solid color, either cardigans or pullovers. Now, my son doesn't wear a cardigan or anything. Basically, the only thing he wears sometimes is maybe like a school sweatshirt, but my daughter is always looking for cardigans. So this one is out of necessity. I have wanted to make it for a little bit. And I was supposed to start on the Shetland Skies poncho, but she's asking me a whole bunch to make her one of these. So this is what I am going to cast on first, just so that she can get a cardigan and she will be able to wear it, hopefully, I don't know, a little bit for the end of the year. That sounds terrible, right? April, May, June. Oh. Well, I will cast on the Montrose Junior cardigan. I will cast it on the largest size, and hopefully it's ready for her next year. But that also means I am going to be casting on this as well. So this is the Shetland Skies poncho, and I've been talking about this forever, and I am pretty much ready to cast it on. So hopefully you'll be seeing that soon as well. I don't like casting on all the things at once, so that's why I keep pushing back on like I feel that if I cast on the Cowltopus, I'm going to have to freeze everything else for a little bit until I get kind of situated with that pattern. Does that make sense? Are you guys like that? I feel like I have to be stable in a pattern before I cast anything else on, because otherwise my brain is just like not able to keep up. So in the Cowltopus comes first, and then once I get established, I'll look at starting either the Shetland Sky or the Montrose Cardigan, Junior Cardigan. I was going to try to do the Cardigan first, but I don't think I'll be able to get it done in time for her to have it for the end of the school year anyways. So with all of that said, what else do I need to talk about before I go into looking at a couple of patterns? Okay, I know. I am a big fan of yarn, of course. I'm a knitter, I'm a crocheter, I'm a crafter. I love yarn and I love pretty things, and it makes me happy. So I tend to spend a lot of time just looking on the internet and finding all of the pretty things. So I ran across Junction Fiber Mill's website. This was probably months and months ago. And I was looking at their yarn that they offered. And they had a spot for mystery bags for, I believe, sport weight and another kind of weight. And they were all out of stock. And the mystery bag was $40, and it said, it gave a listing of the description, and it said it could be 2 skeins or basically what we put in the bag. So I signed up to be notified when they were back in stock, because I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they do like the spin cycle type yarn. It looks very, what's the word? Hand spun? Is that it? I know that there's a word, but I do not know it. So I'm going to show a picture instead. They do yarn like this. And it says, at Junction Fiber Mill, we're passionate about crafting small batch Vermont made yarn. Each skein you hold represents our commitment to quality, community, and the joy of creating with 100% natural wool. We're a woman-owned working mill located in White River Junction, Vermont, and we pride ourselves on supporting American wool growers. So that is super cool, and who doesn't love that yarn right there? It's gorgeous. So earlier this week, last week, a little bit ago, I got a notification that said that they were back in stock, the mystery bags. So I ordered one. It was $40. So this is the bag that it came in, and I thought that it was cute. It says, "We wool, we will rock you." Junction Fiber Mill. So it came in this cute bag. Okay, so I am going to show you the little sticker that came with it. It says Junction Fiber Mill. And these are the skeins that I got. So I think looking at them all together really makes it. So let me see if I can do this right. These are what came. So I have this one, and I love the look. This is so pretty. Now, I ordered the sport weight mystery bag, and that's interesting to me because I don't really have a lot of sport weight. but the sport weight that I have usually gets worked up as fingering anyways, so that's okay. Thought that was gorgeous. And then I have this one as well. And if you can hear snoring, that's the cat. This is almost like a rainbow. So there's that one, and then there's this mini. Is it gonna focus? Leaning out of the way. Okay, it's purple. You guys can tell the color. But I was really pleasantly surprised at how well they match. Like, you could use all of this for one project, and that was really cool. I am a sucker for mystery bags. I'm just gonna tell you that now. I am. It's just me. I am one of those people that very much enjoy mystery bags. So I was very happy and excited when this came in stock. And I know that on my podcast previously, I've talked about, you know, how expensive the spin cycle yarns are and things like that. Well, this was only $40, and I think that that is a pretty good deal. As long as you go into it thinking it's a mystery bag, you're gonna get what you get. I feel like saying what they used to tell my daughter in preschool, which is you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. But I mean, you kind of have to let go of the process and just let them send you what you're going to send them when you get a mystery bag. So as long as you're okay with doing that, I thought that it was really cool. I am excited to use the yarn because I don't think I've ever used Junction Fiber Mill, and it's really soft. So it's definitely a kind of fun happy mail. But okay, that was what I wanted to show you regarding that. I don't normally like to show yarn unless I'm actively using it, but I had just opened that mystery bag, and I was really pleasantly happy, like pleasantly surprised with what came in it. So because I really like those colors, the blues, the purples, the greens, and I feel like I could make a bunch of cool stuff with that. So especially like a hat. I am big on hat making. Okay, you guys, I have just a couple of patterns to show you, and I really did like this one, and I got an email, and I believe it was from Jimmy Bean's Wool, and they were talking about this pattern, and they had, I believe, a bunch of kits for it, I think. Anyways, this is Spun Sugar by Melanie Berg, and let me see if I can show you the best picture. But of course, I'm putting pictures up on the screen. I thought that this was such a pretty sweater, and I love the color work at the bottom, and I love the geometricness of this. It was just a very, very pretty. So this is made with DK and lace held together at a DK weight gauge. So it says that get ready to fall in love with Stone Sugar, a sweater that wraps you in warmth and comfort while effortlessly adding style to your day. It's made with Yarn Citizen Harmony DK and the luxurious feel of Yarn Citizen Trinity Cashmere. So what is that made of? Okay, Harmony DK says it's 50% alpaca and 50% wool. And Trinity Cashmere says it's lace. Lace weight, it's 49% alpaca, 39% bombex. What is that, guys? Do you know? It's BOMBYX. I have no clue what that is. I will put it down below because while I'm editing, I'm totally going to look it up. And it's 12% cashmere. So that's pretty cool. And like I said, the kind of geometricness of the color work is what really got me here. And I love using like really contrasty yarns for patterns like this. So white and red, although just make sure to wash with Synthropool, right? Because That's one of the things that always scares me about using like the huge contrast colors, especially red, is color bleeding, because it can and will happen. You definitely want to pre-wash, and you definitely want to make sure to use Synthrapol while you're washing. Okay, so it says your gauge is 17 stitches and 25 rows. And your yardage that you need is between 2,500 and 3,500 yards. So that's DK, that's basically a sweater of DK and a sweater of lace kind of together, yardage wise. I'm not saying these words right, but you're using two different kinds of yarn held together, which is why it's so much yarn. And the sizes available are 1 through 7. So there's a huge range of sizes. I've never done a Melanie Berg pattern, but I really do like this one. And the neck. I think the neck is great too. I don't know if I would make a neck like that for me though, because I guess it would depend on how tight the neck is. Like if it was kind of loose, then it wouldn't bother me, but if it was kind of tight like a turtleneck, it would have to be a loose fitting turtleneck. I'm not a big fan of things around my neck. I would definitely want this to have quite a bit of positive ease in it. But I saw this and thought it was really pretty. Okay, here's another one. And last week I showed you guys a felted cat. It was called Kitten Annabelle, and I went on a whole side quest to find yarn to make that cat. So you will see that cat, spoiler alert, in both calico and orange, because there's no way I can just make an orange cat. My daughter would be heartbroken if I made just me a plushie. So anyways, this is, while I was looking at other patterns from this designer, the designer who made the kitten, I ran across this one. And this is called a cat felted bag. And I started thinking that it would be really cool if I had any yarn left over after making the felted cat, that I could maybe make this felted cat bag as well for my daughter. I thought it was cute. It's a very cute pattern. It uses bulky weight yarn. So the suggested yarn is Patton's North America Classic Wool Roving. It says that it's one size, approximately 10 inches wide by 8 inches high by 3.5 inches deep. So if you used a smaller yarn, you would get a smaller bag. But I thought the face was so cute. You can see the little cat at the bottom. It's right there. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. Can you guys tell I like cats? Because I really do. I am a cat person. I love dogs too. But I love cats a whole bunch. How am I going to say this? I love cats a whole bunch because I'm physically able to care for them. I love dogs a whole bunch, but we can't have dogs because I can't go out and walk them because of the wheelchair. It's just a lot of work. Dogs are so much work. You'll never find another animal more loyal than a dog, though. We used to have a golden retriever. He was such a good boy. Okay. He lived until he was 12. He ended up getting cancer and we had to put him to sleep. That was very difficult. My kids still miss him. So his name was Stanley, after the Stanley Cup. We are also hockey fans. Okay. This is the Icelandic sheep headband. And this is a new pattern and it's so cute. Hang on, let me show you. Oh, I love this. This is free. I think the charts on it are so cute. So it is knit with worsted weight yarn. It says this pattern includes an alternating motif of an Icelandic sheep and a traditional Fair Isle snowflake. The pattern repeats 3 times to create the headband. This pattern has long floats that require catching, making this an intermediate difficult project. About 30 yards of each color was used, making it a great stash buster project. So if you guys have any worsted weight scraps, check out this pattern because these would make awesome gifts. Like honestly, I would love one of these. My daughter would love one of these. Her friends would also love one of these. So like a lot of people out there would love one of these. So if you're looking for like gifts to give during Christmas or, you know, when you see your family or even for like a gift closet, then one of these is really cool. I saw that and I jumped at it because I'm like, wow, not only is it free, but like this little sheep here is super cute. And the snowflakes just make it. So I just wanted to share that with you. Okay, this one is also a free pattern. This is called the Ripple Cardigan. And let me show you. This is a very positive ease cardigan. Those words don't make any sense. This cardigan has a lot of positive ease. This is a free pattern. This is on the Hobbii website. And this is knit in DK weight. And it is lace. So I am not so great at lace because I get easily distracted while I'm knitting. So my kind of, my coping for knitting lace is using stitch markers throughout for every repeat. So I feel like I would be able to do it with this. This has a huge range of sizes. It is extra small to 5XL and it's knit in DK weight yarn. The suggested yarn that the designer used is Highland wool by Hobbii, which is 100% wool, but you could really use anything for this cardigan. I would stick with like a fiber that you could block out though, just because it's lace. It says, for a fitted look, choose a size with approximately 4 inches, 10 centimeters of positive ease. For an oversized look, choose a size with approximately 25 to 35 or 9 and 3/4 to 13 and 3/4 positive ease. It says the model is 5'10" or 180 centimeters and is wearing a cardigan that is 35 centimeters or 13.75 inches of positive ease. So the model is 5 feet 10 inches and she's wearing a cardigan that has the most, basically the, out of the ranges they give you for positive ease, hers is way at the far end. So there's lots of positive ease in her the pattern that she's wearing. And I like it. I really like the sleeves right there. I like how they look fitted and then there's a lot of ribbing at the bottom. And like I said, I am a big fan of just like oversized and things like that. And plus this is a free pattern. So I thought that that was really cool. And that's it, guys. That's all I have this week. But I have been having a very scatterbrained week this week. So I've been working on getting all applied to college and I'm pretty much there. I'm meant to start in June and at the very beginning I was trying to start in May, but they took so long to get back to me that I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to push this off until June just because I don't want them to respond to get back to me and all of a sudden I'm starting the next week. My brain doesn't work like that. I need plenty of time to kind of adjust and everything. Other than that, I have been having a lot of fun dipping into different technologies with work that I have previously been inexperienced with, that I haven't had experience with in the past, and that has been a lot of fun. I have, let's see, I signed up to beta test a college course test. So the way that it works is that I take 3 or however many tests they want me to for a college course, and I beta test them, and then I write down what I thought of the questions and if I thought it was too hard or too easy, and beta testing it, right? And then I get paid for that, and the test is, this time it is on basically SQL and database stuff. So I've been working on that as well, basically on the weekend. This weekend I'll be pretty much starting and finishing that, because it's not that much work. It's just basically taking 3, this one just happened to be 3 tests, so it's basically taking 3 tests, and they're, I think, between 30 and 40 questions each, so it's not that big of a deal. The subject matter is really stuff that I use all the time, like SQL, and different database, primary key, foreign key, concepts like that. So that has been fun. Other than that, not much has been going on. I have not heard a peep out of the people that my doctor sent my wheelchair prescription to. And when we call, they say, we're not done reviewing it yet. We'll call you when we're ready to. So I am waiting on that. I'm trying to think of anything else. So on next Monday, so yesterday for you guys, we're going to have, I cannot speak in present and past at the same time. So it's still future for me. I'm sorry if that's confusing to you guys, but next Monday, we are having someone come by to show us this kind of standing, I forget what they call it, like a stander, like a sit to stand thing. Since I am constantly sitting and it's very uncomfortable, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. So my legs will get very uncomfortable if I don't put weight on them. And since they're so weak, it's very hard for me to put weight on them by myself. I can do it, but I need assistance, and I would really like to have that part of like my life be more independent, so that way I don't have to bother somebody every time I want to stand. So we are having someone come by on Monday to talk to us about basically this sit to stand contraption. It's basically something that you strap in and it helps you stand if you're paralyzed. Insurance coverage, we don't know yet, so we'll figure that out probably on Monday. But other than that, that's pretty much everything that's been happening the last week. It seems like so much more. I've been just really excited about work. I've been really excited about work and kind of dipping into new technologies. I've been reaching out to college to get that all situated. And AWS has kind of been put on the back burner just because I've been spending all of my free time kind of trying to brush up on other skills. So I know I wish there were more time in each day. It seems like I have this pie and I try to slice it every which way so everything has a little piece of it, but sometimes it's like you have to throw your hands up in the air and say, I don't know, there's something that I've just gotta like let go of for right now. So it is what it is. I'm still actively studying, but it's definitely going slower than I want it to. Okay, guys, I have talked long enough. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope you had some time for some crafting or crafting of your choice, knitting, crochet, needlework, whatever you want to do. I hope you had time for that. Thank you so much for stopping by. Do not forget to leave a comment down below in order to enter for next week's pattern giveaway. And if I mentioned your name earlier, don't forget to reach out to me on either Instagram or Ravelry as Mandy Von Knits. I hope that you guys have an awesome week, and I will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.